Hi Leo, welcome to your April 2020 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here, so I'm just starting over again. That's why the cards are already laid out. The heart of the matter is the Five of Pentacles. Sometimes this can be like unemployment, feeling, concerned about money. And certainly, I'm recording this on the 21st of March. And some of you may be watching then. There is a lot going on with economic systems across the world that can be impacted. But this is more than that. This isn't just some mundane thing. Okay, somebody is out of work or something like this, because usually Leo is very positive about money and is very generous and kind of I think expansive when it comes to finances. There's something going on that feels like there's an attachment, there's anxiety attached to this, or lack consciousness, meaning that the person is choosing to see the glass half empty in their life. There's a pessimistic attitude. And this can be with relationship as well. For instance, I always, when I see this in a love reading, I think of somebody who is ending a relationship with one person and they're already lining up somebody else. They don't even necessarily have strong feelings for that person, but they don't want to be left without a relationship. To me, that's lack consciousness. So it doesn't just come with financial matters. But even if it is financial matters, there's also the neglect of the spiritual. This deck, the Morgan Gurr deck, is very faithful to Rider-Waite, but it doesn't, in some of the cards, like the Five of Pentacles, it doesn't quite illustrate what exactly this can be, which I wish I had the Rider-Waite in front of me because I could show you, where the people are down and out, but they're not looking at the stained glass window that they're passing by because they're so focused on their own problems. And so in the past position, we have the Five of Cups, and this can be mourning the loss of someone or something. So in other words, this, and when I get the central card, that is not necessarily a predictive card, like this is going to happen in the future. This is something that you're dealing with as April begins. So it likely happened in March or even earlier than that, and trying to cope with it. So what that would suggest to me, if we're talking about work matters, is losing one's job and then it triggering that sense of not having enough. Even if the person has money in the bank to last 6 months or what have you, it still creates that kind of underlying fear-based thinking. And excuse me, one of the things about Leo is that you are a fixed sign. I just did Scorpio, and some of these cards, the death card is connected to Scorpio, so it's making me wonder if there is like an actual Scorpio involved, as there seemed to be a Leo in their reading. But one of the things that you share in common with them, especially if your Mercury is also in Leo, is rigid thinking. And that's something, this card, Five of Pentacles, connects with Mercury in Taurus, another fixed sign. You have to, when unexpected events occur or unwanted events occur, there has to be the ability to think outside of the box, not just stay in a rut with one's belief system, but entertain other possibilities so that the person can possibly solve their problem, maybe in a way that they never thought was possible. But with the Five of Cups, you may be taking the loss of something or someone very hard, and therefore it's kind of triggering a feeling of insecurity in general. And The higher message is the Queen of Wands. Remember who you really are. Even though this is associated with Sagittarius, I definitely associate it with Leo, with the sunflower. And the fire energy is an indomitable spirit. Is this refusal to give up, to, the ability to kind of be strong in the face of challenges and not kind of falter. This is definitely a quality that has to be cultivated, but you have this within you naturally, that courage, that, you're the strength card, Leo, in the major arcana, so this should come naturally to you. So remember who you really are. Don't allow anyone else's judgment of you. This is a problem too. If somebody loses their job, that tends to hit their self-esteem. I'm not good enough. I'm not wanted. They don't, they don't need my services. And it has nothing to do with that. Even if that is true, it's only true in a literal context that has no bearing on a person's ultimate value and impact towards others. You can have an employee in a store, let's say it's a cafe, and they get laid off because of some unforeseen national emergency, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and that person may not be technically needed when, even when things settle down. They might say, well, we can function with a leaner staff, but some of the customers may miss that person. And so you never know, what impact you're having on somebody else. So never believe that, you are not powerful or important. And like I said, I think fire signs tend to have an immense amount of positivity, but if they take a hit, that can lead to, somebody who really feels this, who really questions life in general. What is true for me, good for me, what is my value, and that sort of thing. And it happens to everyone. I will say too, excuse me, when the sun is in Aries, this is going to be in your 9th house, and this is the house of God and philosophy. So you want to not run away from these issues when they come up, because it can benefit you so amazingly. What crosses you is the Page of Wands, but you know what I see with this card? I see potential. I think that you're about to have, maybe you're about to have like a new cycle, Leo, and it's kind of like something is delaying that. Something kind of like maybe a little bump in the road. But when it happens, it's going to be, you're going to be rearing to go. And everything is going to turn out the way that you wanted it. If this is like, if you started a business and it didn't really turn a profit, or you feel like it just kind of fizzled out, it flopped, I feel like you have to train yourself to transcend any kind of feelings of failure or negativity or lack consciousness, because the Queen of Wands, and no, you know what? Maybe even more than that, if this was done by, if you have a employer that, and you ended up losing your job, the Queen of Wands is suggesting that you could probably start your own business, that you are a leader, a natural leader, which is true for Leo. So it's possible that the universe wanted better things for you. It's funny because I was doing some readings, I think it was last week, for, the middle of March or the end of March, and I had a couple of signs where it was something about, possibly, being out of work and something like that, but getting a new job right away. And I had like 2 people tell me that that's exactly what happened to them. It might have been for Aries. I think it was one of the fire signs though. And I was like pretty blown away by it, because I do think that this happens. And the reason for a Leo person why it could happen almost like in like the Tower sense, because I think in those readings I got the Tower card, where it seems like it's just coming out of nowhere and it's this catastrophe. And if the person sits with themselves, they acknowledge, I didn't like my job. So they acknowledge that they didn't like their job, and yet they clung to their job because they don't like change, being a fixed sign. And so when you embrace change, you can become fearless. If you like the status quo, which I think a lot of fixed signs do, you are the builders of the zodiac. So you tend to take what already exists and you keep it going or add to it. That is part of your nature to be like that, and to be very, the word that I was going to say was plodding, kind of day after day. But that's how you get things done. You have to be consistent. And a sign like Leo has that consistency. But you also have leadership abilities. And being a fire sign, you're visionary. So taking orders comes easy to certain people because they are, kind of carrying out the vision of somebody else. But you have your own vision, so don't abdicate that, I don't know if I call it responsibility, but that ability to others. Own it. What's coming in is the Death card, transformation. So, let me think here. Well, there is, the Scorpio is connected to the Death card, and I was looking for timing. In May, there's going to be a full moon in Scorpio, which for you is the 4th house of home and family. And perhaps you're selling a home. Perhaps you are kind of letting go of a childhood issue that has held you back, that is connected to something, something that is carried on to this day. I can't tell you if that's true, but the point is that you are, and I think this is true of all of us, we're always evolving. And we always have times in our life where change seems to be the order of the day. I think for the collective, this current time, that when I am writing this on March 21st, so from mid-March, maybe until the first week in April, and even I just was watching an esoteric astrologer and energy reader who was talking about June being the real new life type of life-changing situation. I still don't know what they mean. We are having eclipses in June. But regardless, this spring, if you live in the northern hemisphere, fall, this is a time of change. We're at the equinox, right now. So, or we just, completed that. But it still is very strong as I record this. This is a time of great change, the change of the seasons, but the change of the sun into cardinal energy, which means change. So when the sun is in Aries, when the sun is in Cancer, when the sun is in Libra, and when the sun is in Capricorn, we can observe life and see that there are maybe some significant events that unfold. So anyway, embrace it. Don't run away from it. Say, thank you, universe. And if, someone has left your life in any capacity, and you're mourning the loss of that person, understand that they are going through transformation as well. Their transformation, maybe this is a crisis of faith for you, Leo. Maybe that's what the Five of Pentacles means, is that you have too much of the material consciousness and not enough of the spiritual to be able to understand that death is not the end. If you've been grieving the loss of somebody, if this is true that this is actual physical death, because the death card does not have to be physical death, but if it's true that this has been something that has maybe, been in March or even before then, please accept my condolences. However, this is what I read that really resonated with me, and I think is so true, is that we are grieving our own loss with that person. We may think that we are concerned about their well-being, but really it's our own well-being that we're, afraid of, is like not having that person in our lives. And we do. We have a stronger connection, as weird as that may seem. Even if you don't sense energy and you don't have visions of that person, the reason is because their essence is now more heightened, if you will. I can't think of it. I woke up not too long ago. It's more condensed, because in the material world it's easy to get lost. And so it's like they come home to themselves, really. It's like a home, some people call death, the funeral, the homecoming, or the death process. But it's really coming home to yourself. It's not just like this place, heaven or whatever. It's reuniting with your true self. And I'm sure that's going to be a very glorious thing for all of us. But be happy for them. Be happy for their joy, their bliss. And that will lessen your grief. And also embrace the changes that this development puts in your life. But for other people, this is simply having to live a different type of life for a while. And, what does this mean? There's I don't want to call it conspiracy theory, but, based on what is happening with quarantine, there is a theory, and I really resonate with it, that there's other things that are going on, that this so-called pandemic is being used as a cover to, to kind of do other things. And one of them is that it's forcing people to pay attention, because they don't get to go out to a restaurant or to a ball game or anything like that. And there's so many distractions in this world, and they might have to pay attention to what's around them. And so that makes sense to me, and that's one of the things that change is all about, is being able to see what you're really here for and not being distracted by bright, shiny objects and, activities, to remember who you are. The outcome is the Seven of Cups. You have a lot of opportunities. You may feel with the Five of Pentacles, I lost something, and so I don't have anything now. Not true. You have a lot of opportunity. Actually, your opportunities have expanded. Nature abhors a vacuum. So something leaves, something else comes in, and it's a beautiful thing. Don't fear anything. Go with the flow and take inspired action in the direction of your dreams, and you will be amazed at what will happen. Okay, Leo, that's what I have for you. I hope that this made sense, that it comforted you if you have been feeling some kind of a sense of loss. If you'd like a private reading, I am mainly astrology based. Please check me out at rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.